Hey, good morning, students. I may not be keeping my camera on for like a few days. Actually, I'm not in a, my health is not in a good condition. Hopefully, as soon as I recover, I'll be keeping my camera on. So I hope I'm audible to all of you. Yes. Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Great.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think so. Students, ideally, we as DBIT, the policy of the college says that marks cannot be shown to the defaulter students. But the problem is in MIS, if I talk especially about specific branches, like IT has almost all the students, barring maybe a few students. In IT, almost everyone. Is a defaulter. In mechanical branch, barring I think nobody, only one, barring one or two students, everybody is a defaulter. Only in EXTC and comms actually, I have non-defaulter students. That way, I will be showing paper to very few students. But what I have thought is because I've spoken to some of the other faculties of other departments. So what I'm thinking is I'll be showing papers to all of you because that way otherwise you won't be able to know how you have performed. But then, just wanted to say, I really don't feel some of the students need to actually see their marks because they anyway are not interested in lectures. Their attendance is so low. Uh, Nevertheless, not making it personal. I'll quickly share my screen. Okay, so I hope you all can see the marks. I won't be uploading the list as such on Moodle, okay? Because then that becomes very official. What I'll do is I'll just show this marks as if now to all of you. I just, no, this is not the list that I'm looking for. Just 1 second. Yeah, so as I hope you all can see my screen. This is one by one. I'll just scroll it down. This is, I'll scroll one by one. You all can see your marks. This is you have those of you who had attended the 5 marks questions, their marks breakup. And this is your MCQ breakup. Excuse me. So total out of this is the final column. You all can see your marks. I'm just going to keep it like this for a second. And then I'll scroll down also. And so again, just reminding all of you, but I don't think as if now we have the permission to show the papers or not. So I'm going to put that on hold as of now. But if some of you who are really expecting something different, maybe you were expecting 18 and you've got 10 or 11. If that's the kind of difference, if some of you think that you have got a very big difference in the marks that you were expecting, you can personally WhatsApp me. In that case, I can have a look at your paper, or maybe I can show you the paper, what you were expecting, and maybe if you've got completely different marks. That is one. And just reminding all of you, I had already explained to you how I have done the checking. The checking is done on the basis that those of you who have, the thing is, those of you who have copied from the same source and have written same answers for the specific questions, you all have got 3, 3, 3, 3 out of 5, because there is no means for me to differentiate between the two answers. And moreover, it's just explaining the definition part of the system. Those of you who have taken help of some real-time examples, you have not explained system so much, but you've explained the process or concept with the help of a case study. Those of you have got 4 or 4.5 like that, or maybe 3.5 also. If you're just writing same answers because you're following the same source, you've shared with each other, then in that case, students have got less marks. So I hope everyone has noted down their marks. Do you want me to, if anybody wants me to scroll up or scroll down, please let me know. I'll do that. Because if everyone has noted down their marks, then in that case, I'll do one thing just to make things easy for you. Because there is, I'll hide it so that, it's easy for you to see right in front of your name how much you've got. This is the final scrolling I'll do if in case Anybody wants to, again, want me to scroll up or down, let me know. I hope all of you have seen your marks. Guys, can I get some yes in the chat box? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Okay. So now I'll be closing this sheet. So, yeah. I'll quickly now share my screen is already shared actually. Yeah. Okay, so students, this is the last module actually we are doing. The module name is Information System Within an Organization. We had started with transaction processing systems, which is quite an easy concept for you now. We have been studying it for a very long time since the module number 1. And then we did 2 case studies. We studied the 2 case studies. After that, we started with functional area information system. That was not difficult again. Every sales marketing has its own IS, HR has its own IS. IS is short for information system. Accounting and finance have its own IS. As in every department has its own IS, computerized system to make things really fast and generate the reports. Then the last topic that we had done in the last lecture was it was enterprise resource planning. The whole point of studying ERP was this, which is in front of you. ERP is designed to correct a lack of communication among the functional areas IS. Functional area IS means HR IS, sales and marketing IS. There is manufacturing IS. Yeah, so these different computerized systems, they don't talk to each other much. So whenever a manager or a CEO wants a report or information which is cutting across multiple ISs, it's not getting, CEO is not getting that information. Hence, ERP helps the tight integration of all the functional area ISs through a common database. That was ERP. I'm just quickly reminding you because ERP is one topic on which you can get a question. I think it's a very popular, very topic. So remember these 2 diagrams in front of you. Right, this is the traditional system where manufacturing system, procurement system, every other small thing has its own separate information system. Databases are separately placed. They are not talking much to each other. But what ERP does is ERP puts all of them in a one big box so that all of these separate information systems, they talk to each other. There is sharing of information, and this acts as a very good source of input for data warehouse also. This was ERP system. Guys, you can get a question like this, which is a very generic and theory-based question. What are the benefits of ERP? And again, let me tell you one thing, students. Just one second. Yeah. Let me tell you one thing. See, when I put questions in in unit tests, see, I'm not put. If you will see university, university papers are created with a frame of mind that all the students across the Mumbai University should be able to attempt such papers. There is a person sitting right now in Mumbai in the Don Bosco College, and there must maybe a person sitting in some remote area also, and he's also appearing for the Mumbai University question paper. So questions are framed in a way so that all of you are at the same level, and maybe 1 or 2 questions are a little tricky. And in a subject like MIS, how tricky you can make a question? You can't make it a very, very tricky. You can just make a question study-based question. So my attempt in IS is that I don't want you to, just write down something which you can immediately Google and just copy paste it. Yeah, that's what my attempt is. That's the max I can do in your eyes, because I want you to see how much all of you have a general awareness, how much all of you are actually inclined towards this subject. That's why the kind of questions I put. I always ask you to explain anything, any process with the help of a case study. But when we are talking about the university point of view, see, I won't give you a question, obviously, in I about write the benefits of ERP, because I don't want you to just memorize it or, rote learning wala thing. But then I think questions like this, write down the benefits of ERP, write down the limitations of ERP. These questions you can expect in university. you can come for 8 marks. So again, I'll quickly, maybe I won't read out everything for you, but there are some really interesting terms right now in front of you, which comes under tangible benefits. Tangible benefits are the benefits that you can see, that you can quantize, that you can, you can measure them. That's tangible benefits. Then there is something called as intangible benefits. Intangible, the literal meaning is you can't see that thing, you can't feel it, but it's there. You can't quantize it, but you can, but it is there, that benefit is there. Maybe by the feedback and something other process, you can measure that benefit. So when you have a good ERP system in place, there is good communication among all the information systems. There is something called as lead time. There is a reduction of lead time. It is a, it's a, these definitions are, if you are thinking of, going in the line of management, doing your masters in a subject which is a combination of little technical and little management side, all these terms are useful. You'll be reading about them a lot in future things also. Reduction of lead time, time it takes for the product to move through an entire value stream, which could be composed of multiple tasks. On-time shipments, inventory turnover is increased. What is inventory? Cycle time is cut down. Work in progress. So so all these things are improved. And what all these numbers that you see, over 30%, 99%, you need not memorize these numbers. You can simply, in the tangible benefits, remember these terms, and you can just define these terms. That's it. That is tangible benefits. Read about these terms. What's a cycle time? What's work in progress? These are very commonly used terms to identify the benefits of any good system. That is tangible benefit. And intangible, as I said, you can't measure customer satisfaction. You can't measure how much flexibility has been increased. Information accuracy, decision-making capability. These are all intangible benefits. You can't give them a number. So these are the benefits of ERP. And finally, limitations of ERP. Limitations of ERP, as it's as good as limitations of any expensive software. Whenever a company spends so much of money on some expensive ERP softwares are expensive. You have in market some like IBM, there is Oracle, there is Sept. A company has to shell out money to actually make use of such expensive ERP softwares. कुछ भी महंगा खर्च करने पे क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है? प्रॉब्लम ये हो सकती है, you have spent so much of money in investment, but people are not ready for the change. They are like, no, yeah, I don't want to use this ERP system. I'm happy with my one separate IS system. People are not open to change. Management is not able to, impart good training to the employees. If training is not imparted to the employees, they won't actually learn how to use ERP software, and it will be a big failure. And also sometimes, if an organization is already big, and now it is planning to change to or employ or incorporate an ERP software, ERP incorporation takes a lot of time. You can't just in a jiffy in 2 days incorporate. ERP takes too much time, and sometimes you want to accomplish too much too fast, and then there can be failure and all of that. So that's like for any expensive big project, these are the obvious limitations. So you can remember the limitations. Now there are only the last part of ERP is if a company has too much good amount of money to spend on ERP, a company, there are two ways ERP can be implemented. This can be a question also. What are the ways of implementing ERP system? The first way is on-premise and second is software as a service. So on-premise mein kya hoga? You will actually pay for the software. You will be like, mujhe ye software install karwana hai. Okay? And my organization is already doing a lot of profit. It's a big organization. I can upfront pay for the software. I have the kind of hardware on which you can install the people. Let's say Oracle ka employees. Oracle for this case, your company is client for Oracle. Oracle will send its employees who will be installing the software on one of your machines. They will be teaching, they'll be imparting training to the employees of your organization. That is on-premise. As in your company ka hardware resources and everything, storage, everything happens on your machine, on one of the main servers maybe of your organization. Now, again, there are three approaches to on-premise, or the vanilla approach, the custom approach, the best of breed approach. So just always remember, abhi ERP hai kya yaar? ERP क्या है ना कि एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास ऑलरेडी छोटे छोटे बहुत सारे इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम्स हैं. An organization has information systems, 3-4 information systems. The task of ERP is to somehow, introduce coordination, communication between these information systems, extract data from all of these systems, put them in a common database. This is what is ERP supposed to do. But again, different organizations have different structures. Maybe one organization has different IS for manufacturing and different IS for shipping. There can be one organization which has one IS that takes care of both manufacturing and shipping. Yeah. So how these ERP softwares are then built? ये ERP software कैसे मतलब different organizations का IS coordinate करेगा? So these ERP softwares are also built after a lot of research. If Oracle, IBM, and SAP, they have these ERP softwares, they've not just like that come up with any software. They've done the survey. They've found out the best companies in the world. How do they work? So the best practices in the business. After doing the survey of all of those things, these companies come up with a generalized ERP software. But that can maybe 70-80% it will be applicable for all the organization. That is vanilla approach. My company paying upfront for the software, और जैसा software है ERP का वैसा ही मैंने ले लिया, I'll try to use it. Second is custom approach. My company may say नहीं यार, मुझे ना ये तुम्हारा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वाला the way you are going to integrate my manufacturing and shipping wala IS, I'm not liking it. You need to change the approach of your software. And then, maybe SAP or Oracle they'll try to, do some change in the actual code of the ERP software so that it fits my organization. That is called as custom approach. You requesting for changes in the existing original software. But that's also sometimes very difficult because doing changes at the code level in a big software and that, such sophisticated softwares, it's very difficult and expensive also. And the next is best of breed. It's a combination. Some of the parts of the original software, you use them as it is, and some you say, no, I want customization. Not too much customization, not too much standard ERP software usage, a combination of both. So I don't know, from university point of view, I think it can be a question. Difference between two kinds of ERP implementation. And the second one, we all know what is this software as a service. If your organization is a mid-level organization, you don't have that much money to shell out. I've got a message in the chat box. Dependencies are involved in customizations. Yes. So bespoke is expensive as in what does that mean? Aditya, you can share with all of us what you are saying.
Ma'am, for example, if you are building a software for a particular organization, let's say it could be an inventory management software or an ERP fit for a particular requirement. So when you're building it right from scratch, so it's a bespoke kind of thing that you're building.
Okay.
So implementation point of view, it's going to be very expensive because it will undergo a lot of testing. It will go a lot of trial and errors.
Yeah.
And you're building it from scratch and you're building it one software for one person. Wherein you're talking about SAP or other ready-made tools, wherein it might be little bit less expensive because it's built for once and it's sold a lot of times.
So what you are suggesting is that instead of completely maybe outsourcing this ERP project to a company and asking them to build the ERP software for your company from scratch, that would be more expensive and maybe more risky compared to buying a predefined ERP package like Oracle or IBM or SAP. That's what you are saying?
Yeah, correctly, because it also depends with regards to every organization's systems and processes.
Okay.
Because for most of them, they would be able to make things work. But for some example, it could be a different industry. If you're talking about, let's say, housing.com, they have their own proprietary CRM and inventory management softwares.
Okay.
But whereas if you're talking about, let's say, age-old companies, let's say 19 Acres Magic Bricks, they might be using an existing tool or existing chat tool or a CRM to execute the same thing.
Okay, so it depends from organization to organization also. That's what you are saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Some may be using in-house tool, in-house software that, or some may opt for the predefined, as in the available proprietary softwares, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Aditya. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you. Okay, so that is okay. Moving on to software as a service, as you see on the right hand side, if your organization is a mid-level organization, right, and you don't want to shell out so much money on the ERP software in one go, Yeah, these ERP softwares are actually expensive. What you can do is, as we all know, what is this? You can pay as per you use. You don't have to install the actual hardware. You don't have to have really expensive hardware or the storage capacity in your office itself. You can make use of the cloud service directly, and also as much as you want. Itna mere ko sirf itna hi, and this also happens. ERP softwares which are present in the market, they have a lot of functionalities, and a number of times your organization doesn't require all the functionalities. It requires only limited part of it. So you can actually do that also, and especially using software as a service, you can do that. So that sometimes is financially less straining on an organization compared to upfront, paying for the complete software and then installing it in your premise and all of that. So that is implementing ERP system. You can read about it. ERP is interesting. There are so many case studies about ERP. This was the first part of your chapter number 6, guys. As I told you, there is only now a very small part of this chapter left, that is acquiring information system, very generic topic, and system development lifecycle model. We'll try to cover them and discuss them in a different way. So this is almost the second last part of this chapter 6, that is acquiring information system and application. So ultimately, what we are discussing now, today in this lecture is, we've spoken about importance of information systems, how they're revolutionizing the business. We spoke about e-commerce, m-commerce. We spoke about B2B, C2C, so many things. We're actually talking about, in every chapter, we're talking about the importance of IT, how IT has revolutionized, how internet has revolutionized the way the basic business, traditional businesses used to operate. Now, the question is, whenever a company starts, let's say when a startup company has started, ठीक है, उसने starting में सोचा नहीं होगा शायद, it may have to spend a lot of money on IT infrastructure. Slowly and steadily, the companies realize maybe, or nowadays at the start only, all the assessment is done. We'll have to keep aside this much of money for the IT infrastructure and all of that. Now, the question is, whenever any company decides to invest huge amounts of money in an information system, let's say this information system can be ERP, it can be CRM, as Aditya was saying, it can be an HRM, payroll system, any kind of IS system. How do managers, how do the IT team of the company convince or put up a proposal? Bhai, mujhe na ye, ispe we should invest this much of money. How do you kind of convince? How do you propose that you want to invest so much on the information system or any new technology? So for that, this is the topic. Matlab, abhi we know the importance and everything. Now, how do you put it on a piece of paper? How do you put it across? To your superiors, to the CEO, to the CFO of an organization. That is what this last topic is all about. So not something very difficult. I'll quickly, what you see right in front of you is, whenever any company wants to, for example, if my company is planning to invest in an ERP software, just give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm sorry. So if my company wants to spend money on some information system, what will my IT team do? What my IT team will do is, it will generate a prioritized list of existing and potential IT application, and this is called as application portfolio. And these are the applications that can be directly, added or modified if they already exist. Okay, we understand that. And there is this really simple and very generic diagram that I found in your book, but I thought, okay, let's just put it, we can go through it. We don't have to discuss it too much. So whenever any organization wants to invest in any IS project, any information system, in new technology, so first of all, the mission of the vision mission of an organization, the assessment, the financial assessment of an organization, how much money organization already has, how much they can spend, then the strategic plan, the 6-year plan of a company, 10-year plan of a company, what is the current technology, everything is put together into place, everything is analyzed, and finally it is decided whether the investment should be made in the IS project or not. It's a very generic diagram. I won't discuss it much. I would like to go to the next part. This is very important, guys. I can put a 2 marks question on this part. So whenever investment has to be made, you forget ISR, you forget, you talk about any project. A company has to assess the cost. Very obvious, right? So there are two kinds of cost associated with any kind of project. It's a very generic concept. It would be good if you all, तुम लोग को पता होना चाहिए क्या होता है. So fixed cost remains the same regarding of the sales. Variable costs, they change based on the sales activity. So this right now in front of you. So for example, if you have an office, when you rent out a space for an office, or you lease a specific, let's say shop where you want to open your office, and the lease is for 2 years, that's a fixed cost. Now you might say, ma'am, after 2 years, to 10% shall increase hoga. See, that will happen after 2 years. That may or may not happen after 2 years. But the space that you have rented for your office, on a monthly basis, let's say it's written weekly payroll, I can say monthly payroll also. People who are permanently working for you, you have a manager, you have a store manager, you have a customer representative person, right? They have fixed salaries, and what all bonus that they earn when they get more customers to the organization. A company has to pay, even if your company is in loss or it's earning a lot of profit, you have to pay the salaries that you are supposed to pay. That's a fixed cost. And whenever there is a depreciation cost also. So what all laptops or computers or hardware, your IT infrastructure your company is using, especially I'm talking about the hardware laptops, there is always a depreciation cost associated with these hardware systems. जो लैपटॉप आज शायद 50,000 का लिया था, वो हर साल उसका कॉस्ट कम होता रहता है, depreciate होता रहता है, right? So that is a depreciation cost that also happens. No matter what, that will keep on happening. So now the next part is variable cost. Variable cost is as and when your company, and just 1 second, guys, 1 second, please, excuse me for a second. Okay, I'm sorry, there was somebody on the door, students. I had to open the door. Okay, so variable cost means when your company is doing well, no? When your revenue is, let's say your company is making profit. So the amount, the delivery would be, delivery of the final products would be more. The sales commission, the people that your company, see, you all know ना, the sales people, जितना sales वो करते हैं उतना उनको commission मिलता है. अगर ज़्यादा sales कर रहे हैं तो commission ज़्यादा मिलेगा, कम sales कर रहे हैं commission कम मिलेगा. That's a variable cost. It depends on the way your company is actually working. Revenue profit कमा रही है, loss में जा रही है. अगर ज़्यादा तो accordingly, and also for example, every company has some. Let's say your company is responsible for manufacturing a product. And also, these products are then delivered from one place to another. So let's say your company has employed some daily wage workers also for some labor work. Now, ज़्यादा काम हो रहा है तो ज़्यादा daily wage workers you'll have to pay them also properly. अगर यार इतना काम हो ही नहीं रहा, your company is not making that much of profit, you will give less salary to the daily wage workers also, and the number of daily wage workers maybe would be less also. So that's a variable cost. Amount of money your company will spend on advertising and publicity, that also depends on the financial position of your company. So these are all variable costs, and on the left hand side, these are your fixed costs. If any other good example comes to somebody else's mind about fixed and variable cost, please share with us. What can be a fixed cost? What more are the examples of variable cost? You can share with us. Okay, now before I move on to the next topic, guys, there is something called as, this is used at a number of places in management subjects. the problem that was there because of Y2K projects. I would like all of you to type this in Google, Y2K project problem. Is that okay? This Y2K project that you see, I would like all of you to read about it. What was this problem and why was it costing, companies a lot of money? Is that okay? Will you all do it? You might take only 5 minutes here or 2 minutes. Everyone will do it. Just read about Y2K projects on internet. And then I'll be just asking one or two of you to explain to me what is that. Is that fine? Can somebody write yes or no in the chat box? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, great. So jaldi se, everyone, I'm going to take names: Karthik, Austin, Darshan, Savan, Krishna, Suraj, Sneha, Pranav, everyone, quickly. ये तो मैंने थोड़े से नाम दिए हैं. जल्दी से नेट पे पढ़ो. What is the Y2K project problem? What was the problem? Okay, and then just quickly share with me. I'll go on mute for like 2-3 minutes. Everyone has to read it. Huh? If your mic is not working, you rather leave the meeting because जिनका mic नहीं चल रहा है, कार्तिक और ऑस्टिन का mic नहीं चल रहा है. I'm gonna ask you people, what is Y2K project problem? Leave the meeting, quickly rejoin the meeting with your mics on. Okay, Karthik Nair and Austin. Okay, chalo.
Ma'am?
Yes, who is that?
Ma'am, that Y2K thing, is it a project or a problem? Like,
No, it's no. So it's a it was a problem, and because of that, a lot of projects that companies were having, they had to be redone. So they were all termed as Y2K projects that the companies already had. Maybe they had a computer system, information system, they had databases.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
So, ma'am, we have to discuss how much cost it take to repair the problem, or
it's okay. You don't have to discuss how much. You just tell me what was the problem. What actually was the problem in Y2K with all Y2K projects, with all information systems. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So if in case one or two of you have read it, you can just talk about it, discuss it. We can do that. Voluntarily, anyone can start. Yeah. Who's
I'm
that?
like, so like the basic gist which I understood in this few minutes of reading was that initially the
Who is
programmers.
this? I'm sorry. I couldn't.
This is Joel, ma'am.
Oh, yeah,
Joel from Comms.
Yes. Please say.
Yes, ma'am. So, initially the programmers used to like show the year of that production or whatever data was collected using the last two digits of the year, as in 1985, that is 85 as the year. Whereas when 2000 started, it became like 0001. It got reset, so it was similar to 1901. So it was speculated. It was a little havoc, as in people started getting panicked, thinking that it will be a computer-induced apocalypse. And some companies, like it was estimated that around $400 million to $600 billion will be there will be damage of that amount. Whereas it was not that big a problem, but it just had to be like the programmers had to change a few things in the programs, and the companies had to change the database a little bit. Like it costed a little, but not that high.
Okay. So it actually didn't cost too much, yeah? I thought it actually became a really big problem. Companies had to shell out.
Worldwide, I think the problem was very big, but I don't know. I haven't read the whole thing.
It costed around $87 billion in
Are
USA.
You saying all over in USA alone?
Yeah. I have read that statement something.
Okay. So, but anybody has to add anything? I think we all almost read the same thing, right? This Y2K problem. Everybody almost read the same thing. Anybody wants to just add anything? If anything has been missed out, or you've read something really different, something extra.
It actually says that an estimated $300 billion was spent, almost half in the United States, to upgrade computers and application programs to be Y2K compliant.
Okay. Lot of money actually. Yeah, companies did shell out a lot of money. They had to spend a lot of money on correction of this problem. Okay. So
they even designated a new law for companies to share the information about the Y2K products and methods in 1998 by US President Mr. Bill Clinton.
Oh, okay. Understood. That's new information for us. Yeah. Anybody else would like to contribute anything that you read, maybe was interesting about this Y2K? You can talk about it. You can share with all of us.
In the end, ma'am, it was discussed that it was a lot of waste of time and money to solve such problem. In the end.
So does it mean we actually it was not required to solve this problem? That's what you mean? We could have kept the problem as it is, as in it didn't need any solving. That's what you think, yeah?
I have written in the chat box.
It was termed as a big. Okay, I'm getting. So has anyone? Okay, Pranav, मैंने ऐसा नहीं पढ़ा है. Okay, हो सकता है, yeah? It was termed as a big hoax, maybe. Anybody has to say anything about it? Was it a big?
Ma'am, I just read something that there's one guy who got a lot of profit in this Y2K thing. This guy's name is Peter D. Yeager. Okay. And he used to take a lot of amount, as in from $300 billion to 600. Like he literally price tagged his services to $600 billion per company, just to remove this obviously it was a little hyper, but obviously he didn't take this much amount of money. But yeah, he did price tag it, like, for removing this work, I'll take this much amount of money.
Okay. So as in he charged actually too much. In short, in simpler words, we can say maybe problem was not that big, but companies ended up spending so much money on solving this problem. Maybe it could have been solved with less energy and less money also. Just saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So fine. Makes sense. Okay. So I just wanted all of you to read about this Y2K problem. What was it? Because at one point of time, it was a big issue, big problem. So I think most of us, all the points have been covered. So good, great guys. You all contributed to the discussion. So I think there is this one topic. So this is what we are actually doing. Why are we studying about all this? In short, our topic is, before investing into any computer project, any IT project, a lot of assessment has to be done. This assessment has to be done in the terms of cost, how much money will be invested, what will be the returns and all of that. So there is this assessing benefit is also there. You have to assess the benefit, intangible, and usually for IT projects, sometimes to quantitatively write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Itna percent se ye badega, itna percent se ye badega. Sometimes it's very difficult to put that in a proposal. It's very difficult to quantify some benefits. That is the assessing benefits part. Now there is this is the interesting part. I like this part, conducting the cost benefit analysis. So for not only IT projects, I would say, for a lot of projects, there are some ways to identify, there are some ways to quantify, how much money, if invested, whether we'll get returns or not, whether it's a positive project, whether we should actually invest on a project or not. There are certain ways to actually do that. So we'll be talking about net present value. We'll be talking about return on investment. That's a very small explanation. Then we'll be talking about break-even analysis. Then we'll be talking about business case approach. Just give me 1 second. So I hope everyone is paying attention. And once you read these terms in the lecture, you can always read about net present value on internet also. It's an interesting concept, how companies plan and think that how much money and whether they should actually go for an expensive project or not. It's very interesting to know about that. So I've tried to put a small calculation part also here so that we get to see exactly how it works. So net present value is nothing but it converts the future value of the benefit to their present value equivalent by discounting them at the organization's cost of funds. Before I actually explain this to you, tum log ne ye sab suna hai kya? Like our grandfather, our sometimes our parents also, yeah. Like my parents, I was born in late 80s, right? I'm an 89 born person. So my parents, when they tell me when they used to work, when they started their jobs, so even if one was a gazetted officer, one was a very simple officer. My mom was not an officer scale person. When they tell me how much salary they used to get for a month, आपने कभी दादा दादी से पूछा है तुम लोग ने क्या? 700 rupees, 800 rupees, ऐसा भी होता था. They used to have, and they would actually live a good life. 1,000 rupees monthly salary भी होता था, 7,000 रहता था. ऐसा salary used to be there. So now if we say if a person is getting 1,000 rupees salary or a 7,000 rupees salary, it's just almost very difficult, right, to sustain with that much less money. Because inflation has happened, economy has boomed, globalization has happened, privatization of industry is happening, country is booming, so economy changes. So obviously, the value of that 700 rupees, which whatever was the value of 700 in 1970 maybe, now the value of the 700 is not same. It has reduced, right? उस टाइम पे 700 का वैल्यू काफी ज्यादा था. अभी 700 का वैल्यू उतना नहीं है. Maybe 2 years back only, the thing, if you could buy something for 30 rupees, now that you have to buy the same thing for 50 rupees because 30 का वैल्यू कम हो गया. अभी तुम 30 में नहीं मैनेज कर सकते. So this is a very generic explanation that we all understand. कि 2 साल पहले जो वैल्यू था, जो तुम 100 रुपए में जितना खरीद सकते थे, लेट्स से ऑन 2 साल, आई कैन से 10 years also, 10 years बैक जितना तुम 100 में ले सकते थे, अभी तुम उतना नहीं ले सकते, राइट? बहुत कम लोगे बिकॉज 100 का वैल्यू कम हो गया. So right now there is a table in front of you. So the first column is year, second column is cash inflow, third column is net flow, fourth is discount factor, fifth is present value. So let's say I have a company, okay? My company wants to invest in a project and the total cost, I'm talking about 2021, this current year. My company plans to spend 1 lakh, let's say, rupees on a specific project. And this complete 2021 1 year will be utilized for starting the project, as in the project ka build up, usko ready karna, and finally deploying the project by the end of December 2021. So this is what the plan is. Abhi tak we have not started the project. We have just proposed this plan. And my proposed plan says in 2022, that is after 1 year, my project will give a profit of 40,000 rupees. Then my proposal also says in 2023, that is 1 year afterwards 50,000 का profit बनेगा and 2024 में 60,000 का profit बनेगा. So if you add all of these, all the profits, you subtract them from the investment, मैं बोलती हूँ कि भाई मुझे 50,000 का तो profit मिलेगा. That is what I'm proposing in the project. Now net present value says कि you are saying that after 1 year you will get a profit of 40,000. After 2 years you'll get a profit of 50,000. But the value of जो 40,000 आज है ना, 2 years के बाद वो 40,000 का same value नहीं रहेगा. The way I gave you an example of 1,000 rupees. 10 years back, the value of 1,000 rupees was more. After 10 years, value of 1,000 rupees has reduced. You could buy more things with 1,000 rupees 10 years back, and now you can buy less things with the same 1,000 rupees. Similarly, what net present value does is, it allows you to do the calculation not only keeping in mind the current value of the currency, but after 2 years, and it is by default assumed that because every year there is inflation. ऊपर नीचे थोड़ा चलता रहता है. And this is how usually has happened. After every year, the value of currency वो थोड़ा कम होता जाता है. So what happens is that net present value says associate a discount factor with all the quotes that you have quoted. So now you will be like, I mean, discount factor क्या होता है? Discount factor calculation you can say as good as पता है क्या? हर साल when you take loan from bank, interest rate keeps on changing, right? Sometimes, for example, one of my friends 8 years back, she had taken a home loan. At that time, interest was very high, and suddenly because of this COVID thing, interests have they've become low. So she's in a good space. She actually got some profit. Uska total amount that she had to pay has reduced. But in business organizations, when a company is investing in a project, every year ka money or the value is associated with a discount factor. That is, abhi see, I'm saying this year I'm gonna invest 1 lakh rupee on a project. So discount factor always varies between 0 and 1. So actually, is saal to 1 lakh ka value is 1 lakh only. Yeah. So discount factor actually kuch nahi rahega. It will be 1 only. Next year, when I'm saying that my company is going to earn 40,000 rupees, no, I'll multiply that with a discount factor, which will give me a little less value. ठीक है? Similarly, उसके next year का profit 50,000. See, 2 साल के बाद जो 50,000 है, वो अभी का 50,000 नहीं है. वो थोड़ा present values की कम रहेगी. So third wala, this project, I'm saying in 2023, I'm gonna earn 60,000 rupees. That is also multiplied by a discounted factor. By discounted factor, we mean every year, the value of the money, you can say the interest rate, it's getting reduced. So when you multiply this, see the current wala jo money that you have spent, uspe to koi discount factor humne nahi laga. It's 1 only, it's the same. The next year ka what all money you are spending, that is multiplied with 0.91, 36,400. You are multiplying all the discount factors with the net flows, yahan pe present value mein, and you are adding all of this and subtracting from 1 lakh. So actually तुम्हें जो बोल रहे हो ना कि 3 साल के बाद मुझे 50,000 का यहाँ पे प्रॉफिट मिलने वाला है, that is equivalent to अभी का 23,500. And if this value over here, the final value is a positive value, see, I'm talking about 1 lakh. Whenever companies do this net, just give me 1 second. Whenever companies do this net present value calculation, the focus is over here in this red bubble. And if this value is hugely positive, I don't know how much positive, usually it's written, if it is positive, companies decide to go with the project. And if it's negative, companies plan to not to go ahead with the project. That is a net present value. So just, this is how the investment and the profit that is projected, कि इतना पैसा कमाया जाएगा after 2-3 years. Currently उसका क्या है? As in how much that actually means. That is done with the help of net present value. This is one calculation I got, guys. There is a way to calculate the discount factor that I've not included. That's actually not a part of your subject, but I just wanted to give you a overlay, a glimpse of this. What I'll do is I'll again start from this discussion only in tomorrow's lecture. I'll start from net present value only, and then we'll talk about return on investment. We'll talk about break-even analysis, a little bit of business case approach, and that's it. So if you still have, I would like all of you to go through this term on internet at present value. You may find a better explanation also, because there are so many good, management topics on the internet that you can read about. पढ़ो इसके बारे में, and tomorrow we can have again a discussion at present value. So that was it, students. I'll end the lecture. Thank you everyone for attending, and you all have a nice day. Thank you all.